Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the United Stand. It is me, Faz, bringing you today's morning show. Lots to get into, lots to talk about. I'm fresh off the jet, well, not really jet, but plane from Istanbul, where I got to watch Galatasaray play Manchester United. What a game it was. I'll be touching on my experience. I'll be touching on how, obviously, the game went down, what I thought from being in the stadium as well. I'll be touching on quite a bit of news on Manchester United today. The first one, Onana may not be going into AFCON because he may fear that his position is up for grabs by Altay Bayındır. I'll be touching on update on Amad Diallo as well, coming into first team and nearly finishing his rehab. I'll be touching on transfer talks as well. Big transfer news. Radu Dragusin from Girona is linked with Manchester United for a price tag of 30 million. I'll be touching on that. And also Manchester United are linked with Ivan Toney, as we all know, and Mark Guehi as well. Centre-back for Palace. Also Manchester United linked with Timo Werner. And also, I don't actually know how to pronounce his name, but Guehi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, striker in the Bundesliga as well for Stuttgart. I'll be touching on that, and also touching on a bit of Sir Jim Ratcliffe news. Everybody loves a bit of Sir Jim Ratcliffe news nowadays, right? There's always a bit of Sir Jim Ratcliffe news. Sir Jim Ratcliffe to look into more domestic presence in Manchester United and bring in more homegrown players. So lots to get onto straight off the back. Let me start off with, right, the Galatasaray game in Istanbul. What a fantastic game it was. Manchester United, we really need to address the individual errors that are costing us the Champions League, in essence, because in the Premier League things are looking a bit, on an upward trajectory. On the Premier League, we're getting wins. We're beating Everton when we really didn't think we will, by a lot of goals as well, 3 goals. Real good momentum, but individual errors are costing us, and it's a shame that it's coming down to individual moments of brilliance and individual moments of errors in a game that is, in essence, we're supposed to be winning and going through into the Champions League. We did more than enough to win that game, way more than enough to win that game. We looked like we were creating an abundance of chances. We could have easily scored a 4th or a 5th in that game, but regardless of all of that, the front line, getting involved, Alejandro Garnacho is really in form, and it's a shame that Rasmus's goals, Alejandro's goal, Bruno's goal, it's all going to nowhere. That's the shame. And I'll tell you one thing, I'm going to try and keep it balanced. In a situation where people are going to be really on Andre Onana, right? The whole world, Manchester United fan base, we're all going to be on Andre Onana's case because his mistakes are costing us. But this can be very lonely for him as well. And I'm not going to just defend him or not defend him, but it's just a balance. He's the number 1 shirt for Manchester United is, of course, very heavy. Let's be very honest, it's very heavy, trying to take over from David De Gea. But I remember I'm going to go and sit down today. I've got some time after this show and look into all of the times I mentioned David De Gea should have been our number 2 this season. And I had people telling me, well, why would Manchester United pay someone $250,000 a week to be a number 2? Well, this is the reason why. This is the exact reason why. And I remember specifically saying that we need to wait out and see how Onana does before we start saying that he's settled into Manchester United, because he's had a couple of games of good saves. It takes more than a couple of games of good saves, more than a couple of games of good, okay performances to say a player settled in. So, yeah, I'm really disappointed, but let's be deadly honest. Erik ten Hag isn't going to bench him, is he? He's not going to drop him. That's his guy. That's his number 1 player that he brought in, his keeper. His style of play is solely dependent on Andre Onana playing. Everybody knew this. Everybody knew that he cannot implement what exact football he wanted to play without Andre Onana. So if you're going to back the manager, you're going to have to back his players. And the players that he's brought in, the ones that he's not using, well, so be it. But the one that he is, Andre Onana, he's not going to drop him. He didn't drop him against Carabao Cup, against Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. So what is it that tells you he's going to drop him further on in the season? I don't see it happening. I really, really don't. Producer Greg, if you may, please, can we get a poll up, if you don't mind? Do you think that Erik ten Hag will drop Andre Onana? Yes or no? Because I absolutely don't think that's going to happen. That's his #1 player. He definitely backs him. He publicly says he backs him. He's clearly rectified and addressed the relationship damage that he had between him and Andre Onana. Let's not forget this. Let's not forget that Andre Onana and Erik ten Hag had a fallout prior in their last club. And Erik ten Hag addressed this, brought him in, all is okay, and now all of a sudden he's not performing, he's making mistakes, vital mistakes that are costing the team, but Erik is not going to drop him, because what does it say if Erik drops Andre Onana? Mason Mount hasn't worked out, injuries, performances, X, Y, and Z. Amrabat hasn't pulled up trees, whatever way you want to call it. And then if he goes and drops Andre Onana, what does that tell you about Erik ten Hag signings this season? Reguilon, a loan deal that doesn't play and injury prone, and we bought him last minute. What does that tell you? All of it. Alvaro Fernandez being sent out on loan. Maciej Kova being sold. For what purpose? Maciej Kova sold for what reason? Why? And if he goes and drops Andre Onana now, it's a domino effect of all of these transfers that have gone wrong, and it doesn't look good for the manager. So yeah, I don't think so. He's going to drop him. And I look at an overall picture. Mount didn't work out. Amrabat didn't work out. Kova sold. Alvaro Fernandez, let go on loan. So all of these things, it's not looking good for Erik ten Hag and his transfers, I'll be honest. But Andre does have a good few clean sheets in the league, which obviously helps his case. But Champions League is something we fought for last season, and we really, really fought hard. And now we're going to go out in the group stage, and it's really painful, really, really painful. And a lot of fans, Mark included, who said Dave saves and Dave should have stayed. And let's be honest, Erik ten Hag, really, 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 in all honesty, call a spade, Manchester United and Erik ten Hag, whoever it is, the whole organisation disrespected David De Gea. And I'll stand by that. Whether or not David needed to leave or not, David De Gea was disrespected by the organisation. Whoever's in charge. Contract got offered, contract got pulled, contract got offered, contract got pulled, negotiations, wage decrease, whatever. David De Gea was disrespected. And please, miss me with the, previous legends didn't get testimonials, previous legends didn't get that. That's previous, that's then. What's gone is gone. But as of this season, this window that's just happened, this summer window, David De Gea was disrespected, plain and simple. Call a spade a spade. Moving on to some news, though, away from the Galatasaray game. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is set to instruct a new look to Manchester United recruitment team to prioritise homegrown talent. Ratcliffe is eager to see more of a domestic presence, particularly within the core of the team. And this is reported by Sami Mokbel from Daily Mail. Well, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, I'll be deadly honest, first buy the club. First get the 25% over the line. All of this chit-chat about he wants to do this, he wants to do this, football in control, this, that, the other. Every single week, takeover news is delayed. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not hearing no takeover news in 2023. Mark my words. No takeovers happening this year. It's not happening. I don't see it. It's probably going to be next year at this rate. So it keeps getting delayed. Journalists keep saying it's going to be on a Monday, and then it doesn't happen. So this thing about homegrown talent, I don't get it. On top of it all, why would you want to prioritize homegrown talent when you can find numerous hidden gems all across the globe as well? Homegrown talented players, some of them didn't want to even come to Manchester United. Jude Bellingham being one of them didn't want to come to Manchester United. Mason Mount, one of them, didn't work out in Manchester United yet. So let's be honest, this homegrown thing, and particularly, within the core of the team, what is that supposed to mean, core of the team? because if he wants to do this homegrown British kind of thing, then does this mean he prefers the likes of Graham Potter over Erik ten Hag? And he wants control of footballing decisions. So yeah, I don't really understand this. I don't really like it. And plus, on top of it all, he's not even secured 25%. We don't even know the level of footballing decisions he's going to have. Montblanc, who's linked with Manchester United to come in, is a commercial man. He's not a footballing man. If you don't know, go and research about Montblanc, that apparently is linked with taking control of Manchester United's footballing decisions. He's a commercial man who did commercial decisions for Juventus for many years. And I have to see first Sir Jim Ratcliffe try and get this 25% over the line, see out some of the deals that need to exit Manchester United, Scott McTominay's, Harry Maguire, and maybe even some other players, and then see the type of players he's attracting. And this is another thing, right? I'll touch on this. This thing about concentrating on homegrown talent. Well, that means if Erik ten Hag identifies particular players and Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to identify particular type of players and they don't, mix or match, how does that leave the whole recruitment process anyways? Because in one hand, people are saying we don't back the manager because he didn't get Kim Min-jae, he didn't get Harry Kane, he wanted Osimhen, he didn't manage to secure Frankie de Jong, couldn't get Timber, all of these other things, right? Didn't get Rabiot, didn't get Arnautovic, all of these other things. Well, if the manager isn't getting his first main priority signings and Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants to bring in homegrown quota, the likes of Mason Mount, who isn't worked out yet, how is that going to work in the first, in the club? It's not going to work out well, is it? Anyways, let me see some super chats quickly. Bear with me. There's a couple of super chats that I want to make sure I address. Colin says, Onana is the new Weghorst, should have got Pickford. I think, look, he's made some mistakes and people are going to be very easy to, go in on Andre Onana, and I get it. It's true. The individual errors, some of them are actually, you don't even understand how he makes these errors as a goalkeeper. He gets the hand on the ball and the ball just rolls underneath him. The first free kick from Ziyech, you'd think he'd just put his hand out and he'd get to the ball. It's literally that close to him. You can see he's that close, but his hand is on the ground rather than just stretching out and trying to get in the ball. The errors you really can't justify. But I don't think it's safe to just go in on him and say sell him straight away. There's still a long period of the season left. We have to be patient to see what he does. At some point he will make some good saves. I hope so anyways. But statistically, for the Twitter tacticals and the hipster tacticals that are there, everybody knows his shots lower to the ground, the percentage of saves is not that good anyways. And also on top of that, we're conceding a lot of shots. I think Mark brought it up on one of his streams as well, that against Luton, Everton, Galatasaray, we're just conceding loads of shots. So it's not helpful towards the keeper as well. But we can't do anything, right? Imagine trying to go and get David De Gea back now. I'm not going to take this time to really go in on Onana because it's a lonely period. And I've seen him, let me tell you when. I saw him, Galatasaray game at home. I saw him, obviously, Galatasaray game away as well. And you can just tell by his facial expressions that he's really, really upset with himself. And it's a really down time for him. So I'm gonna back him. I'm gonna stick by him. I'm gonna be critical, don't forget, but I'm not gonna be just like blind about it. I can criticize, I can critique, I can call things out, but I can also back you. And he's a Manchester United player. He's his first season. He's Erik ten Hag's guy. I'm not going to take this opportunity and go absolutely ballistic. I've seen some people say some absolute horrendous, nasty things about players online. And no, I'm not going to be that person. Space says, do you agree that Erik ten Hag is not good at big transfers? His biggest transfer so far has been either a flop or mediocre. Mount, Onana and Anthony. Well, that's an interesting one. He's not good at big transfers. Look, Anthony in the Galatasaray game actually did really, really well. Really well. I was really surprised. Maybe that little period of dropping him in the bench helped him. Mason Mount is one I don't understand, so I'll go with that. Onana is one that I do understand, but is making errors, but also is helping him play the football that he wants to play. So it's a balance. Yes, he's making mistakes, but yes, he's also helping play the football that David De Gea wasn't going to be playing. But which one is worth more to us? Is the ball playing ability worth more, or is the making saves worth more? That's what we need to establish. How much? Let me speak to you in this way. Onana's abilities on the ball, how much has it helped us this season? Please comment down below. I'd love to understand this from Manchester United fans' perspective. His actual ball-playing ability, the things that he can do, how has that helped us this season? How much has it helped us? Have you really seen it help us? Have you really seen his ball-playing abilities come out? Because early on in the season, he was getting chipped. Early on in the season, we saw he's diving early, when he's 1v1 with a player. I'd be deadly honest. I get why he would make the transfer of Andre Onana, but I am not seeing the benefits of having Andre Onana yet. This is my honest judgment and honest opinion, and I'd love to hear what you guys think. Let me see, there's a few more super chats. Thank you for your super chats. Loads of them coming through this morning. Make sure you get them in and I will read all of them out and dissect them with you. Slow Sports News, thank you very much. Hope you're well. Says, I'll back Onana, but I can't back silly mistakes. I know transitioning is difficult, but those schoolboy errors cost us. Yeah, very fair judgment. Ricky Moreno says, just reminded me of Alex Moreno's goal. Was it yesterday? We still have a chance. Bayern will probably start their bench. We need a win. Need the other teams to tie. Is it time to give our backup keeper a chance? Ricky, I'll tell you straight away, we are not making it out the group stage. Mark this tweet, to be fair. We're not making it out the group stage. The probability of Galatasaray drawing with Copenhagen and us beating Bayern is so low. It's unrealistically low. Like, for us to beat Bayern Munich, the probability is low as it is, considering how many goals we've scored, and yet we still don't get a win. We scored numerous goals against Galatasaray, numerous against Copenhagen, numerous against Bayern, yet we're still here. Considering all of those factors, if you were to put this into a machine in an algorithm or something, the probability of us coming out of the group stage is 0.100 zeros and then 1. It's so low. So I'm not even banking on them to draw in and us beating Bayern. And the fact that you think Bayern Munich are going to start their bench, you need to go and research when Bayern Munich actually do that. I'll be honest, I don't remember the last time Bayern Munich doing that in any game. And Manchester United, Bayern Munich is a big game. I don't see them starting their bench at all. Slow Sports News says, the jumper says it all, dude. Well, I wore this jumper specifically today for a reason. I wore this jumper very specifically this morning. And what I'm having a laugh with you guys. I really, really am. I do enjoy the morning shows with you all. I was waiting to see someone pick it up, but what can I do? Oh God, football is a funny game, and you guys are even funnier. As it says, what's the Bosnich or Howard doing right now? They can't do worse. Anyway, if we want a defender, by choices are Tomori and Ignacio. The rest aren't good. Okay, we'll talk into centre backs in a minute. Zain Miasi is in the chat. Zain says, Toney is ours. We are favourite for Champions League and League. He will lead us to victory. Come on, you Gunners. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the 1st of December 2023, and Arsenal fans think that they have a chance, or they are favourites of winning the Champions League. This almost sounds like, you know, those conspiracy theorists who used to say, the world is gonna end. I have the Mayan calendar, or I have seen this calendar and period. The moon and the sun, they have aligned. People are gonna turn into wolves and the world is gonna end. I don't even know how to interpret the fact that an Arsenal fan has said they are favourites to win the Champions League. I don't understand how to comprehend it. It's not even a joke. The funny thing is, Arsenal fans believe this. They actually legitimately believe. And it's the type of, it sounds almost like, you know, the type of people who used to say, yeah, you know, the world is gonna end and the sun and the moon and people are gonna, there's gonna be Area 51 and aliens are gonna come out. Oh God, oh God, please. I'm having too much fun. Zayn, you know what? I appreciate the super chat for sure, and good luck in your Champions League campaign, man. Really, really good luck. I don't know what to say. Anyways, moving on, right, to some more news. Let's talk about Manchester United quickly. Oh, there's another super chat. Let me just not miss this one. Thank you for your super chat. Carlton says, minus Onana and Mount, all were second choice. The rest were desperation signings from above him, and in his position, something is better than nothing. Interesting super chat. I'll tell you what. Onana, Mount, and Amrabat is his signing. I would say Amrabat because of the period of which we chased him. He's got some other signings as well, you know, Tyrell Malacia, Christian Eriksen, Anthony Martinez. These are all his players that he wanted. The funny thing is, the one player that we all could say that is not his signing, Casemiro, is the one player that's worked out the best, is it not? Let's be honest with ourselves. Hey, let's be honest. The one player that Erik ten Hag, possibly it wasn't his player, right? Frankie de Jong all summer and then boom, Casemiro comes in. The one player that he didn't identify, that the club bought, is the one player that was the best player last season. I'm just giving you a piece of information that's popped in my head. Please, I know how the chat can be. Anyways, Amad Diallo, let's talk on Manchester United. Amad Diallo, Martinez as well. Some people are saying Martinez. Yes, thank you for the reminder. Lisandro Martinez has been fantastic as well. Right. Amad Diallo's rehab and training is going well. He should be able to join the first team squad training full-time in the next couple of weeks, reported by Insider United, who is a regular informer of injuries updates in Manchester United. So that's a positive news. As far as I know, Amad is not going to be ready to be in proper full first team training until the last week of December/January anyway. So by the time we see him with the first team, maybe even get some minutes, it'll be probably end of January period, I'm presuming. This one, Andre Onana, is a bit nervous going into AFCON, that if Altay Bayındır gets his chance, Onana will not get his place back. And this is reported by Chris Wheeler. And I tell you what, this is a very interesting one because he clearly, Andre has been vocal about his concerns, you know, with his playing for his country. There's been issues as well with him playing for his country. There's been issues around corruption that he's spoken about publicly. And he seems very proud about going back to international duty. And he seems very proud in being able to represent his country on the international stage, which is you all know me, I love players going on international duty, by the way. I absolutely love it. I promote it. I'm an advocate for it because funny people don't do the same thing when let's say any player doesn't get picked for England. The funny thing is, I've noticed this thing. People complain that, oh, why didn't such a player get picked for England? But then when another player is getting picked for another country, people are like, oh my God, he shouldn't go and do international duty. And I tell you what, I remember Alejandro Garnacho wanting to go on international duty, and Erik ten Hag stopping it, and me being an advocate for Alejandro Garnacho to go to international duty. But if Alejandro Garnacho was an England player, you'd see a lot of fans saying Alejandro Garnacho not getting picked for England, or not going into England. This is not good. This is blah 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 blah. But because he's obviously a different country player for a different national team, people don't have that approach. I've noticed this as well. But yeah, look, if Onana is a bit fearful that Bayindir will take his position, it tells me one of two things, right? Firstly, it tells me that he doesn't have enough belief in himself that he's better than Altay Bayindir. And number two, it's also a good thing that it tells me Altay Bayindir is good enough to play the second goalkeeper. So that's a positive. If he's fearful that Altay will take his place, that clearly means Altay Bayindir has shown levels in training, as per Erik ten Hag, his quote, levels in training. He must have shown something in training that makes him feel that Altay is good enough. And we all want to see a bit of Altay Bayindir play in between the sticks and see how he does. It would have been nice to see him in the Carabao Cup game, but we haven't seen anything at all other than just going back and seeing his football in his previous team. But I don't think Erik ten Hag does that. Will he or will he not go to international duty? I think he will. I think Andre Onana will go to international duty because he's been so vocal about being, happy about going back to his international duty. So yeah, moving on, a bit of transfer talk for you all. Manchester United are in very advanced talks to sign Girona centre-back Radu Dragusin in January. I think that's how you pronounce his name. United have launched the operation to sign him, and talks are ongoing. The price is 30 million euros for the player, and this is reported by Sport Witness. And I tell you what, he's very, very, very young centre-back. If I'm not mistaken, what is he, 20, 21 years old? 6'2" centre-back. I have gone and researched him a little bit. I've not gone and researched him in depth. I'll tell you what, he's got good background on him, come out the Juventus youth system. I'm not really a big fan of him from what I have seen and researched. I feel like he's a bit slow. His turning is a bit slow, but he's very physical, great in the air, very young, loads and loads to develop still. But I haven't researched him in depth, but sounds like a cheap deal in 30 million euro for a 21-year-old. But I don't know how reliable this is in terms of, it says very advanced talks to sign Girona centre-back. I tell you what though, I'm more interested in Marc Guehi. Firstly, obviously he's in the Premier League, and I like the player. He's again a young player at 23 years of age. Coming out of the Chelsea youth system, playing in Crystal Palace, but I think he's much better. His passing's really good. His on-the-ball ability is really good. He's good going forward. He's good with his tackling. He's not the tallest centre-back, but he's good with both feet. And that's the player I like a lot more, Marc Guehi. What are your thoughts in the chat? Let me know what you guys are thinking with these two players. One is Radu Dragusin from Girona, and then Marc Guehi from Palace. I like Marc Guehi a lot more. Todibo is one that Erik ten Hag is obviously identified and been in links with for so long, but these two have been identified as well. The thing is with Marc Guehi, I don't think he moves in winter, whereas is Erik ten Hag adamant to get a centre-back in the winter? It's what we need to see. Also, Ivan Toney is still being linked with Manchester United. This is going to be an interesting one. How long is left on Ivan Toney's ban? Can someone tell me in the chat, please? How long is actually left? Because Ivan has to come back, resume training, get his levels back on the pitch, get into goal scoring form as well. But Ivan's going to set us back quite a bit. And I tell you what, I really, really, really like Ivan Toney. Like, I really like him. It was a shame what had happened with his situation about the gambling. And I really pray and hope that he's addressed it and he's got the right support, he's got the right help, because he's a fantastic, fantastic player. Now, yes, there is the podcast and the video of him wanting to, is it play for Arsenal, isn't it? If I'm not mistaken, right? But I think he would love to play for Manchester United. You know, and we could do with a player like him for sure. I think Martial is going to leave this summer. I don't think he's going to stay. And on top of that, Rasmus does need ample amount of support. And I tell you why I like Ivan Toney so much, right? I love the fact, and I don't know why, it's just a personal thing. I love the fact that Ivan Toney has played in the lower leagues of football. What a story for Ivan Toney. I love it. Played in League 2, played in League 1, played in the Championship, now in the Premier League, and linked with one of the biggest clubs, if not the biggest club in the world, Manchester United. All the way from League 2, League 1, Championship. That is every young player who probably plays in an academy in League 2 or League 1 or even National League, right? Looking at Ivan Toney, I think, wow, if Ivan can do it, maybe I've got a shot to play in the Premier League one day. He's played in all of these clubs. He's got so much experience of playing for so many different clubs. This is Barnsley, Peterborough, Shrewsbury. And now he's obviously got this little ban of his that's going to finish hopefully in a few months' time. And yeah, he's done fantastically well in Brentford. He's ready for the jump up to the big teams, and Manchester United could be that place. He's only 27 years old. A striker can hit his prime at 29, 30. He's tall, he's strong, he's fast. He's got an eye for goal. He's ice cold in front, when it comes to 1v1. Really like him. Really like him. It's a shame that we didn't manage to secure Harry Kane. Or Victor Osimhen seems like he really wants to go to Chelsea. Ivan Toney could be that player. He's ready for the jump up. What do you guys think? Ivan Toney, Manchester United. It sounds good. Couple of super chats. Let me address them very quickly. Bear with. As it says, trying to get youth season tickets for next year. Got any advice, and can you point me in the right direction, please? As it says, drop me a DM on Twitter or Instagram, and I will give you some advice if I can. But what's the general consensus? Producer, can we get a poll, if you don't mind, please, for Ivan Toney? Let's get what people have to say. Someone says Vardy legacy. Yeah, Vardy legacy as well. Vardy played for... the question to be Ivan Toney, please, if Manchester United fans would like Ivan Toney to Manchester United this summer. Someone says Vardy legacy. Yes, Vardy played for Halifax, if I'm not mistaken, at one point as well, right? If I'm not mistaken. But how long has he got left on his ban is something that I wanted to know. I can't seem to find it. How long has he got left on his ban? I'm sure it's not that long. But anyways, yeah, that is some of the latest. The last bit of transfer news that I'll touch on is Manchester United have asked more info. Let me actually get this pronunciation right of this player, right? Let me get it right. Bear with. I think it's pronounced Serhu, if I'm not mistaken. Serhu Guehi and Timo Werner as well. Yeah, that's how you, right? Serhu Guehi, I think that's how you pronounce his name. And then Timo Werner, both players, Manchester United, are linked with, reported by Fabrizio Romano, that Manchester United have asked for more information on Guehi along with other clubs. He's not the only striker on the list. Werner potentially could be available. They are speaking to different agents. That is an interesting one, I tell you. Serhu Guehi, I think how... getting this pronunciation wrong. Guehi, I think that's how you pronounce it. Fastest player to hit 15 goals in the Bundesliga in 9 games, beating Harry Kane's record, which is actually fantastic. He's in great form, doing really well in Stuttgart. A player to look out for, and he's 27 years old. 6'2", great with both feet, and he's in form. He's in absolute great form, but he's got an ankle injury. He's had an ankle surgery, right? That's a little bit of a concern. And his release clause, to me, is a bit funny. His release clause is around 20 million euros. His market value would be around 35, 40, maybe even 45 million euros. So I won't be surprised if his agent maybe trying to just secure him a new deal. We've seen this before. Players, agents using Manchester United, try and make deals happen for their clients. So I don't know how serious that link is. But the Timo Werner is one that I've obviously heard lots about in the news outlets, that Manchester United are looking at Timo Werner quite a bit. This is an interesting deal, in my opinion. Timo Werner, who's currently at RB Leipzig. Again, 27 years old. Do we really need a player like Timo Werner? I want more of an out-and-out number 9, a tall, strong, great in the air, great with both feet. Yes, Timo Werner's been in teams that have achieved, some great accolades, but I don't know. Whereas Serhou Guirassy, a player who's same age, much cheaper, great attributes, maybe might be a better signing. But overall, I think Manchester United should be looking at Ivan Toney. Let me see how the poll is doing, by the way. Let me just get my vote in. 31% of the people say no to Ivan Toney. Well, in that case, can we get a poll, please, admin, producer? Can we get another poll about Timo Werner then? 69% of the people want Ivan Toney, but let's do this Timo Werner one. I'm very much interested to see. Listen, I wanted Marcus Thuram so bad. So bad. Manchester United didn't manage to get Marcus Thuram, didn't even identify Marcus Thuram when he was free. And that's a criminal, real criminal move. But Timo Werner is an interesting one. And I have a question for you all as well. I have 2 questions for you all that I have thought to ask you guys. And yes, I will say they are hot questions. So stay tuned for those questions. Timo Werner, he's only had, 2 goals this season in the Bundesliga with 1 assist, and he's barely played any minutes for RB Leipzig. So yeah, I can see why Manchester United are going to be linked with a player like that. He's not even had, huge amount of injuries as well, but he's got some back issue and abductive issue as well that's going on. But not barely any minutes he's played, whereas Serhou Guirassy is in fire form. I don't like the Timo Werner deal. It just stinks of something. I just don't like it. It's almost giving that Mason Mount vibes. I don't know why. It's giving Mason Mount vibes. I'd much rather prefer Ivan Toney, and Manchester United should be looking at breaking the bank for a player like that, in all honesty, than anything. As someone who's really had the Premier League on fire when he was playing. So all these other strikers and everything that we're linked with, we need to avoid everything else and just go in for Ivan Toney as soon as he's available. Let me see a couple of super chats. Let me just bring them up. Bear with. Rishab, I think it's Rishab. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Rishab, yeah. We should go for Werner or equivalent if Martial stays and Toney if he leaves. If Martial stays and Toney if he leaves, to make sure Højlund gets enough games to develop. We should get I don't understand the super chat. Member for 12 months. Thank you for staying a member. He says we should get Werner or equivalent if Martial stays and Toney if he leaves, to make sure Højlund gets enough games to develop. Right, okay. Well, I don't see Martial staying. I really don't, but we'll address this in a minute. But Werner, I don't know, man. Just don't like this deal. It's not the type of striker I would think Manchester United would need. Someone a real, like, who stays in the box, in between the sticks, a focal point number 9. But then we have, Rasmus Højlund, who's a focal point number 9, totally different to Martial, and we're not creating enough for him. So I can see that side as well. Hurasi is the pronunciation, says Obum. Thank you very much. Appreciate that help. Hurasi, that's how you pronounce it. Let's see, where's the poll? Did you do the poll for Timo Werner? And what was the result? Do we have the result? 61% say no to Timo Werner. Can't see the results on the screen for some reason. But anyways, yeah, 61% of the people say, oh, there it is. Timo Werner, 60% say no, 39% say yes. Yeah, I need to sit down and really understand this Timo Werner link with Manchester United. It doesn't add up to me at all. We didn't manage to get Harry Kane, and he left for Bundesliga, and we need to be making sure we swoop in and get Ivan Toney. It's as plain as simple to me. Can't be dilly-dallying about with the number 9, and I don't want to overplay Rasmus Højlund this early on as well, because we know he's got that little back concern, and I don't want to eventually trigger something that injures him and causes him problem. Every time there's a bit of injury issue or concern with Rasmus Højlund, I'm very, very scared. Ricky Moreno says, can we stop buying Chelsea players? Keep digging a bigger hole with those players. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I'm a bit shook with this Timo Werner deal, because the Mason Mount deal absolutely hasn't flourished, and this Timo Werner one as well. It just stinks of a bad deal to me. Stinks of a bad deal. But listen, that's all for this morning. This is my question to you all, right? Brace yourself, and please, this is just a question. This is just a question. Let me actually, hold on. Before I ask the question, let me just make sure I check something, right? Let me make sure I check something. Right, okay. Have I got it up? Right, okay. Right, listen to this. Harry Maguire, the question is in relation to Harry Maguire, chat, right? His deal runs out in 2025 with an option to extend, so 2026. Would you keep Harry Maguire until, so this season and next season, so basically 23-24 season and the next season, would you keep him for a season more if he keeps performing at a good level? Just so, because think about how many centre-backs are going to leave. This is just a question. This is just a question. Before you guys get triggered, and this is just a question. Think about it. Think about it before you reply as well. I can see a huge amount of no, right? Just think about it. So, Johnny Evans has to leave. He's not going to stay, right? Rafa Varane isn't going to stay, I don't think. Lindelof, is he going to stay? I don't think so. When does Lindelof's deal run out? Let me just quickly check. When does Lindelof contract? Is it? Let me see. When does his contract? Is it next year, isn't it? With an option to extend. So then his contract will last until 2025. So we're still okay with him, whereas Harry's runs until 2026, right? This is a good question to wake you guys up. No freaking way, says Belinda Bell. Donovan says, I would keep him. This is an interesting question. Gareth Southgate is in the chat, says, of course. Mama says, no thanks. No, the majority of people say no. Okay. Producer, poll time, please. Yes, yes, poll. What do you mean again? Yes, yes, poll time. Who would you much rather keep this summer window? Three options: Lindelof, Maguire, Varane. Let's see. Let's hear it. Let's see what the public have to say. Lindelof, Maguire, or Varane. Who would you much rather keep? Because Johnny Evans, for me, is by default, he has to leave after this. He's going to leave after this, this season. He's not going to stay. So yeah, the producer, you have kept him busy in there today. Let the poll. Varane straight away. But Varane, injury issues, no? Lindelof, he's had good moments. This is an interesting one. I don't know, man. Maguire's doing okay. But then this is the reason why Varane makes sense, right? I'll tell you why. The reason why Varane makes sense is because when Martinez comes back and plays that left centre-back position, you have Varane on the right centre-back. So that's what he wanted all along. That's what Eric Ten Hag, the gaffer, wanted all along. So let me give my vote in. Who would you rather keep? Shall I? Okay, my vote. I've gone with my vote, right? I've given my vote. Yeah, if Martinez comes back fit and good, Varane will play on the right centre back. I'm sure of it. That's what we wanted from last season, but it's just the injury issue. But then again, if you look at just number-wise, if I'm not mistaken, Martinez has been injured longer than Varane last season, or just overall in Manchester United. If I'm not mistaken, go and fact-check that. I think Martinez has had a bit more injury than Varane, but obviously that's because of his surgery as well. So it's not just any other injury. Varane wins by 64%. Lindelof is 20%, and Maguire is 17%. Okay, so people are still adamant to let Harry Maguire go. Okay, that's perfectly fine. No problem. Thank you very much. And the second hot question for you all, right? Ready? If Anthony Martial stays fit majority of the season, shall we, considering his age, considering his involvement in the team, shall we give him another contract? Anthony Martial. So I asked Ricky this question, and Ricky said 100%. Ricky said, give him the contract. 100%. Without a shadow of a doubt, Anthony Martial's Hussein, Manchester United. I asked some other fans as well, Martial fans, and they said, yes, they would love Martial to stay. But think about it. Savage says this is a tough one. No, before you just say no, just have a think. And again, this is just a question. If Martial, he's been fit all season, by the way. We're nearly game week, 14, if I'm not mistaken? Martial's been involved in every matchday squad. No issue with injury. Barely played, for sure. But Martial used to get injured in training, I remember, or in warm-up. If he goes one season without injuries, do we give him a light few years? I didn't say, no, but before anybody says I said I want him to stay, do not dare do that. Do not dare say I said I want him to stay. I am asking a question because that's what I do. I ask questions and I like to see what people want to say, and people have to think. So no, don't you dare, community, do that to me, right? I have some news as well coming up tomorrow. The Newcastle game, massive game for us. But someone's just sent me, producers just sent me a bit of message. So Eddie Howe has confirmed that neither Sean Longstaff nor Joe Willock will be fit in time to face United on Saturday. Newcastle could be without 11 first-team players. Botman, Harvey Barnes, Callum Wilson, Murphy, Dan Burn, Elliot Anderson, Matt Target, Javier, and Sandro Tonali also unavailable. So quite a few players unavailable for them. But they beat us with 5 fullbacks in the cup run. So I don't really know what to make of it. Wise Warrior says, yes, if he would cut his wages by half, then he would keep Martial. Sell Anthony and keep Martial. Let's see. Any else? Lesser wages. Okay, so it's a mixed one. It's mixed. People, so but majority of the people says no. Don't keep Martial. But yeah, Eddie Howe, 11 players unavailable. Main ones Willock and Longstaff, Dan Burn as well not available. But let's go into tomorrow's game. There'll be the presser reaction out later on. And obviously the 8 p.m. show as well later on, and big game tomorrow against Newcastle away. Thank you very much, Oscar, for gifting a membership. Thank you very much. Have I missed out any super chats? No, I haven't. That's all for today. Build up tomorrow. It'll be me and Beth, and then the OG panel is back on the forum with Beth, myself, Kev, and Ricky. Let's see if we can keep up our momentum of goal scoring tomorrow. Scored 3 against Everton, 3 against Galatasaray. That's 6 goals in 2 games. Unfortunate that we haven't managed to beat Galatasaray and get the 3 points, but the focus of scoring more goals is what I'm liking. And that 3-1-6 system that Erik ten Hag was playing earlier on in the season, it seems like he's moved on from that a little bit. Or the type of football he's playing, it's working a bit better with Kobbie Mainoo coming in. That's the key. The key has actually been Kobbie Mainoo, and not Amrabat, not Mason Mount, not Onana, not Anthony, not anybody else but our own player, Kobbie Mainoo. And I tell you, I'll leave you with this. If Kobbie Mainoo was a player for Barcelona, I don't know, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, Monaco, PSG, whatever. If Kobbie Mainoo was a player for a different European team, people would say that he's the next best thing in the world. But because he's a Manchester United player, a lot of opposition fans are not making as much noise. And I kind of like that. I do, because just keep us under the radar. But I'll tell you what, Kobbie Mainoo is, if he keeps going in this trajectory, he's going to be the next biggest thing in football. Without a shadow of a doubt. He just needs to stay humble, keep this trajectory, stay off injuries, hopefully, touch wood, have good moments. Manager just encourage. That's probably the best thing Erik ten Hag has done with Manchester United. If Erik ten Hag has done anything with Manchester United that I can say is number one, and it's not what Weghorst, like Angry Ginge would say, I would say it's the development and bringing in Kobbie Mainoo. Without a shadow of a doubt. He could be the next generational player that Manchester United have found. Alejandro Garnacho as well. That's another one. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for this morning. It has been a fantastic morning show on a Friday. Newcastle game tomorrow. I will see you on the build-up show. Take care. God bless. And yeah, 3 points tomorrow. Let's get it. Peace, everyone.